Mindfulness Collective. This right here, right now, is the joy of being alive. Stream coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Folks, very nice to see you here. I'm very glad to be here with you. How are folks doing? Welcome. All right, folks, hit me up. What do we got here? Where are you at? What are you grateful for? Friends who are honest. That's what I'm grateful for. Friends who are just open. This is what's going on with me. This is the challenge. This is the difficulty. I appreciate that very much. Folks, we have here with us our little doggy cam, little Sela here, hidden away in the corner. We can adjust the dog or we can adjust the cam. Okay, how are folks doing? What's up with folks? Today is Freaky Friday. Very excited for today. I'm going to be doing some meditation based on your interests, your curiosities, what's going on with you. Okay, folks, hit me up. What are you grateful for and what on earth are you? Where's your location? Nate says, West Virginia. Grateful for coworkers who are honest. Yeah, I swear to God, honesty is such an underrated or maybe over-assumed quality. I think a lot of people think they know what honesty is or think that they're being honest, and they're just not. They're just making shit up all the time. You got to be internally honest. That's the only way it works. Okay, folks, hit me up style. What is going on? Where are you at? What are you grateful for? Excited for today, excited to do the live stream. And, oh, Nate, I got to share this with you. How do I copy this link from my phone to the PC? If I had a Mac, if I was streaming from a Mac, then this stream would be totally messed up. But I'm not, so I'll email it to myself. I want to send you this. This is Kid, who's a pianist for a terrible Grateful Dead cover band. And he's killer. I've been listening to him all day. I just caught him live yesterday on Reddit. Come on. Okay, great. I'm sending this to myself, and then I'll post it in the chat here. You got to check this kid out. He seems like he's like 17. Yeah, well, just dark. It doesn't even have to be evil, but just that like grimy, like that side of things. I feel like it happens often enough. I'm surprised it's just not. Anyway, folks, grateful to be here. As your people are trickling in, tell me, where are you coming from, and what are you grateful for? Hit me with your best shot. That's what I gotta say. I'm gonna hit you all with let's see, with this kid. I'm actually, I wonder if I should just play it on the stream. What the hell? I don't think I can get copyright strike. This is live. I doubt that's going to happen. Okay, I'm just going to play this. Let me pop this up while people are popping in. Welcome, folks. Oh, my goodness. Nick, thank you for subscribing. So kind of you. Love that. Much appreciated. Okay, let me get the second screen going here. Monitor 2. There we go. Monitor 2. That's not what I wanted. It's working, people. It's happening, I promise. Okay. Let's see if this will work. Loading, pause. I said pause. Let's see if this will work. Okay, let's transition this. I don't know if it'll even play though. If this works, it's great. Okay, we got some folks rolling in here. Welcome, folks. Nick coming in from Germany, from Gothenburg, Sweden, sorry. Hello from Gothenburg. Almost ready for the weekend. Grateful for tap water. Yeah, boy. Tap water can't be beat. Just Andy, NYC. Welcome, Just Andy. Where in NYC? I'm just curious. We got a bunch of NYC folks here. I'm grateful for my parents. Jean, grateful for more morning from Brooklyn. Grateful for facials. Lovely. A little bit of skincare going on. Excellent, excellent. I don't know if this thing's going to work. I do want to play it for you. Here we go. This kid. Wait, I can't hear nothing. There we go. So I found this last night. It's like an hour and a half long, and he just continuously solos the entire time. It's really, I'll just fast forward 10 minutes.
How's that? Stable?
There we go. I like dream of being able to play an instrument like this. It's very enjoyable to watch. So we'll listen to this until we start the meditation. Tell me if it's too loud, or if you can't hear it at all. That'd be very funny. Turn it up a little bit. So folks, okay, excellent. So today is Freaky Friday, as you may have noticed. And we're going to be taking Andy's from Queens. There we go. Wait. Let's see. You know what we should do is turn the monitor off. He's cute kid with the dog. Dog sleeping, I think, is good with the music.
Probably both Keith and Brown.
There we go.
Like early 70s, late 70s.
Let's see here. So, folks, it is Freaky Friday. I know I could listen to this all day too. And the funny thing is, he's in this Grateful Dead band, and they're really like fine. Like it's a good Grateful Dead cover, but it's like he doesn't even play a piano solo in any of their songs. It's like it's very weird to me. I think they're underutilizing, which I said in the comments. But folks, today is Freaky Friday, so we're going to build a meditation based on your particular preferences. What, might I ask, is interesting to you? What do you want to meditate on? What do you want to practice around? What is up? Tell me, hit me right now. What is it that you would like to practice around?
Make backing track? Yeah, I did make the backing track.
I know exactly. I want the music to have my own soundtrack.
I want to turn it into a song in my band eventually. It's kind of funky, right?
Yeah, some people's talents is exactly tied in their hands. And he later on says he doesn't know music theory at all. He's just vibing. Very impressive. Okay, so folks, what do you want to meditate on? We could meditate on music. We could do an audio meditation. What do you want to meditate on? Hit me up. So any challenges you're having in your meditation, in your life, any interest, any things that you've been like, well, that's really an interesting experience that humans have. Any curiosity, human drives, challenges, internal challenges. A lot of what we work on here is like internal difficulties, ambivalence. One part of us wants this, the other part wants that. Trauma. Sometimes we talk about trauma. I got some dust on my sound blanket here. I don't want to worry about it now. The music has me like vibing. Yeah, so hit me. What do you guys want to meditate on? Oh, let me share this link with you if you want to follow this kid, because it is fully worth following. You can find him there, and then I think that there I'll give you their hashtag for YouTube and Instagram. But again, they're both of their things on both of those places are I don't want to say mediocre, but whatever, they're fine. This is very, very impressive. And then they're just like kind of applauding, kid. They're young. They're like kids. They're like teenagers. I mean, it seems like to me they're like playing in high schools and stuff. And they're highly underutilizing this kid. Sometimes I can hear more in the details of music than other times. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely it. It's definitely a training. You're an audio guy, so he's currently advertising his band, telling people to go. Oh, no, sorry, I spelled it wrong, guys. DEPH. There you go. Okay. So hit me with what you want to meditate on. I'm fine making something up, but be curious from you. We could keep using the music as the meditation. I'm not opposed. I'm practicing Chan, Zen meditation and having difficulty meditating in half lotus. The pain makes it hard to meditate. Any tips? Yes. Don't meditate in half lotus. So this is you can always get a pretty untraditional response from me. So I have to I'm going to turn it down slightly because it's hard for me to follow. There, and I'll turn it up for you so it's it can be louder for you than it is for me. So tell me if that volume's fine. So I'm going to give you a pretty untraditional premise, but I would just develop the two skills separately. Develop the skill sitting in a chair. One of the big keys, and I say this all the time, but Zen, in particular, make sure the knees are lower than the hips. That is like key. So in the West, we just don't sit on, we don't sit lotus. So like, of course, we're going to be all messed up. And part of Chan's drive, part of the reason that Chan functions the way it does is that it's a monastic practice, and they assume that you've kind of moved to the monastery. So they're like, we don't care if you're in pain and this sucks for 6 months every day, because after that you'll be fine. It's just the assumption is you'll be into it. So we want to assume that okay, we need to make an adjustment for our Western lives, which is we want to be able to practice reasonably and assume, okay, in 6 months I would like to be able to do this, or a year, but I'm going to get there without hurting myself or just having pain be the only object of meditation. It's fine to have pain be the object of meditation, but trust me, just sit in complete stillness on a chair with comfortable cushions and pain will come. Give it 30 minutes, give it 45 minutes, but pain will be there. But you want to develop the two skills separately. Do a lot of stretching, do yin yoga. It's very good for actually releasing down at the lower core of a lot of these places, but do enough stretching so that the body can actually comfortably get in that position. To me, it's never been super important that the posture is so perfect, but I know that in Chan it is very important. So go ahead and just stretch the body, build the body up, and then at the same time be doing your meditation in a chair, and eventually the two will meet and you'll be able to do both at the same time. So that's just my suggestion. But of course, if you want a more traditional suggestion, it's just well, that's too bad. I'm sorry that it hurts. Or not even I'm sorry, you're asking too many questions. Yeah, that's my traditional Chan response. Nick says, a lot of musicians could be lured into meditation if you told them they could experience music in HD instead of 360p. It's true. It is very much true. That's okay. We did a hearing meditation last time. We're going to do something different this time. I have a good idea related to the music. We might have to, I'm going to play the music, but then we might have to pause it at one point because for one thing he's talking, so it's going to be a little distracting. But the other thing is that sometimes it's good to be silent for a little while. So I have a weird curve in my back, like an extreme S shape. So I actually get less pain when my hips are knees. Oh, a knee level. Okay, great. Well, listen, do what you got to do. All these suggestions are based on a kind of generic, body, which is not very realistic. So definitely make adjustments. Okay, so we did a listening meditation on Wednesday. We'll do another one now. We'll just use the music as a jam. Let me make sure there's enough time in the music before we... okay, there's this many minutes. I'm going to back up a little bit. So there's going to be some talking because he's occasionally chatting with the audience now and then. I think he chats more towards the end, so I'm going to go back to the beginning. Okay, and I can't hear what the volume is for you folks, so we're going to use this music in the meditation. So tell me now, is it loud enough or is it too loud? Just give me that volume check. I can see the meter, but I can't tell how loud it actually is compared to my voice. It doesn't have to be the same, but you get to pick. Good volume, great. Okay, great. Let's have fun. It's Freaky Friday. Let's meditate on this music. Hopefully we don't get copyright stricken. We'll see. Okay. So find a nice comfortable position. This is exciting. I don't think I've ever done this. It's just have music on and then be like, let's go. Sometimes I've played music, but this is going to be a weird one. This will be a listening process. It's it's lower than the voice, that's fine. Lower than the voice is fine, as long as it's listenable. And a little quiet's good. You have to kind of go in. Perfect, great. Okay, so folks, find that nice comfortable position. Nope, gotta change the screen before I put the mouse away. Okay, find a nice comfortable position. I'm going to encourage folks to practice in stillness. Great, perfect. Practice in stillness, so don't move the body, so allow the body to be still, unless we give some instruction to move the body, and you probably know my instructions for how to stay still while you're meditating. So if anyone's just joining us, we're going to meditate with music. It's going to be a little harder because the music's got some groove to it, it's got some vibe, so the mind's going to move around a little bit. What I'm going to have you do over and over again is come back to the body, and the body's going to have a kind of stillness, and the music will have a kind of movement. We're not fighting between the two. We're going to watch like a dynamic dance between the two. Okay? So let's experiment. It's Friday. Let's experiment. So find that nice, comfortable position. And when you're ready, after I cough, after I take a sip of water, which is hidden someplace here, or I spilt it all over the floor. I definitely brought a water. Did the dog take the water? Seela, what'd you do with the water? All right, well, I guess Seela drank the liter of water. She's all curious. She's like, how'd you find out that I drank the water? How'd you find out? Okay, folks, find that nice comfortable position, and when you're ready, we will begin. You can go ahead and listen to the bell. See if you can follow it around the music. Notice how they interact. Notice that the mind can follow the bell at the beginning because it's predominant, and then it mixes with the music. Beginning by taking a few comfortable deep breaths. Just feeling the body rise and fall. Physically relaxing the body. And as we relax the physical body, going further than we can even physically feel. And what we'll likely find, since we usually don't have music playing while we practice, it'll feel like there's a tension between the two, what we're used to in meditation and the music. And this is probably likely because the mind is trying to split the two, divide the two experiences, but we're going to let the two mix. We're going to include both. So what if the sound itself was what relaxing a body felt like? We'll come back to this throughout this meditation. What if we weren't listening with our ears, but with the physical body? So letting the sensations of a relaxing body and sound be one thing, just letting them be together. Letting them dance. Notice the music pushes and pulls up and down. There's rhythms and different pathways, sounds, patterns. So seeing if we can feel those patterns as body sensations. Listening with the whole body. And rather than letting the mind do what it often does, slip into one particular note and then the next and then the next, pushed and pulled instant by instant, and see if we can take in a big swath of the sound. Taking in 4, 5, 7 notes as one soft, strange collective. Each note moves up or down, tonally, emotionally. So following this movement, is it going up or down, and seeing if we can follow that with the body. Again, rather than the ears being something that's at the head, recognizing that sound is vibration. And the body's often quite sensitive to vibration, so seeing if we can let the body be the listening instrument. If we're familiar with tracking emotion, this is exactly what I'm describing. Emotion is the body's way of hearing, of liking, disliking, following. Assessing tone or emotional tenor. So if we like this process, it's in the body. If we dislike, it's in the body. So listening with the body is simply observing emotion. If this is a strange thought, don't worry about it. Just listen with the body. knowing that we can listen with the mind, analyze, but the mind has opinions, it doesn't have feelings. It doesn't like or dislike, it just tells us whether we like or dislike. Just information. If there's a sense of riding a groove, as strange as this might sound, that is emotional. And if that concept is just in the way, trying to think about emotion, don't worry about it. We can simply, once again, follow the groove, follow the movement, observe the liking or disliking. We can also follow expectation. Music is often fun because it goes against expectation. So anytime there's a surprise in our experiencing, again, this is our emotional system expecting it to go one way. And we're presented instead with innovation. And innovation often fills the heart with wonder, delight. So taking a moment to be grateful for even the capacity to take in an experience of sound, of music, to feel delight or wonder, or even gratitude to even feel annoyance. Sometimes when observing something that is fast-paced, has a lot of variety, it can feel as though it's almost agitating or difficult, pushing and pulling so much. But we can use this. Letting any of that kind of agitation or movement massage the body. And if we have any challenging emotion, any emotion we're familiar with that comes and feels overwhelming at times, letting that movement, letting the sound, the groove, touch that part of ourselves that has difficulty. Letting the difficulty, if it's present, if we notice that in the delight or interest, the movement, the groove, let them mix. Creating our own music, our own emotional tenor within. If it's possible, noticing what is that new emotional tone as difficult emotions, if they happen to be present, and the music mix. So we can simply listen with the body. Listen to the surprise and innovation. We can follow the groove. The syncopation, the off-time nature of the groove. All of those strange pushes and pulls, those are emotional. The sound being quite close to a human voice. And we hear a voice as an emotional instrument. We can do any of these, or if we have any difficult emotion that happens to be present, we can let these two mix. Seeing if we can detect the new emotional tenor of the combination. And if we'd like, we could even try, even beyond listening from the body, listening from everywhere. This is using awareness to take in the sound as though the sound were emanating from all directions. All sensing was touched or permeated by the mist of the sound. feels like too much. Taking in more of a spacious awareness, not just the music, but more sensing. Even if the music pulls us back to the specific experience. Just opening up. This more open awareness is exactly how musicians play together. Taking in more data rather than focusing. If we try to pinpoint the mind, focus tightly on it, it's tiring. If we can let go and let it be part of a spacious awareness, part of the mist of perceiving, it can be easeful and restful. And for a moment, simply connecting with the gratitude that this is even possible. Human life is very recent. Hearing as a sense experience is relatively new. Emotion as a body sensation, in the grand scheme of things, is a relatively recent technological biology. So we can often appreciate the high definition television that's newly introduced. For a moment, taking in the gratitude for the instrument that makes it even possible to detect this higher definition. The unfortunate fact is, someday this biological organism that we navigate the world through will no longer be functioning, what we call human death. And when that time comes, often the great wish is that we had spent our time appreciating the moments we did have. So So recognizing for a moment that whatever we're experiencing, even if it's difficult or frustrating, interesting, joyous, what we're experiencing is life. This strange, billions of year old force. An unbroken chain since life sprang from the heat vents of the ocean. Despite all of the pain and difficulty and tragedy that has been experienced by humans and primates and simple mammals and amphibious fish and single-celled organisms, all of the death. We right now are connected as an unbroken chain to the beginning of this seemingly magic experience. So we can have lovely experiences watching nature documentaries, but recognize that what we experience all the time is a front row, direct experience of the glory, the magic, the deeply impossible nature of human existing, of life. If life could express itself in the form of a leaf, or a beautiful tropical bird, or if life could express itself in the form of human hearing, human emotion, we can ask precisely what would that sound like, what would that feel like right now. And in this way, letting ourselves truly live. So staying with the practice, staying in stillness, allowing a tiny bit of light to enter the eyes, eventually allowing the eyes to rest on a single point as they fully open, feeling the momentum of the previous moments, the practice we've just done. And in this way, letting this particular moment be the great teacher. It shows us how we might bring this practice into every aspect of our life. Okay. Let's bring it back. Okay, folks. What was that experience like? What happened? What do you like now? That was fun. It was sort of a tour of all these different ways of using music as a way to meditate. I mean, there's a lot more actually, but those are some of the fun ones for me. So what was that experience like? What happened and what are you like now? And P.S., don't worry about, you can have bad reports. You can say that was not fun or challenging or difficult, whatever. It's Freaky Friday. We're just experimenting, having some fun, so no big deal. And as you type out your reports, I'm going to throw up the Discord. If ever you want to chat when we're offline, it's a good place to get me. We're really working on the Discord so that I can actually interact more, because it's just been difficult for me technically. And so therefore I want to I want to make it more responsive, and I'm probably going to be just recording videos to do that.
Done, we drop on Spotify, they're gonna be fucking sick. So look forward to that. Probably a few months.
Nice. Yeah, folks, what was that like? What happened? And what do you like now? Okay, let's hear from Nick. Oh, you know what? I got to turn this down because your volume of your reports will appear. All right. Your reports will, well, we can have in the background in a little bit. Your reports are going to be on the same channel. So let me hear your report here. Nick. Nick says, here we go. Nick says,
Extra Friday vibes today. It might have been a good thing that the music stopped. Now it's not locked to a particular piece and we can use different ones. I used some jazz fusion with lots of soloing, elbow triangle. It fit the guidance eerily well at times. It was pretty hard to follow the voice though, because one, mind is very jumpy while at work too. The music was too good so attention was sucked in. 3 were used to minimize sensory stimulation in meditation.
wait a minute. You got to be killing me. Oh my God. Did the music stop as soon as I started the meditation? I'm going to like fucking, oh my God. Okay. Nate W. The music went away. It's only the bell. Oh no. I feel so silly. Well, hopefully it was fun. Tell me what that was like without the music, because that's embarrassing. I know why that happened. I understand why that happened now. It's such a fool thing. I wish I had like a way for someone to break in during the thing that only I could hear, and so I could say, "There's a problem." Man, that sucks. I gotta. I'll release. Do you know what I'll do, folks? I don't know, this is a consolation. I'll release the video and I'll put the music actually in. I'll edit the video so the music can be in there. Man, that is annoying AF. Okay, that's cool. Folks, what was that like anyway? I give up.
Probably both Keith and Brown. I really like early 70s, late 70s.
Nick says. Oh.
Same as Nick said. Ironically, the music going away at the start was perfect because I did use it with my own music. Now I can reuse this. Well played indeed.
Wow, okay. Yeah, I'm glad, because that's what I meant to do from the beginning.
It was interesting, but I might have to repeat this one because I missed a lot of guidance.
Well, listen, you caught me. That was my intention the whole time, was not to actually do a meditation based on this music, but actually to make a silent thing where I was listening to music and I could guide from it, and therefore you could all play your own music. Okay. Nick says,
Parts and whole reminded me of when musicians can play effortlessly instead of focusing on their own little part. They can interact with each other much better. And that's why some bands are so good live and others are way worse than the album. Also, don't the sound guys, hey.
also don't the sound guys. Tell me what that meant, because I think that was a typo. Don't forget the sound guys, exactly. So what I was saying before about opening awareness as a way of listening to more than just a single particular part is exactly how sports players, how musicians, etc., how they play beyond what their individual talents are, how they go, what they talk about being in the zone is actually being in awareness. And they say, oh, I was thinking too much, I was too caught in my head. You're too caught in attention where the mind is focused in on one little point. So a lot of our skill set is actually learning to teach the mind to be open, be open. It's really amazing how many places that particular skill comes in as being really central for meditation skills and life skills, etc. Like all of internal family systems, all of non-dual practices, all of playing improvisationally, all of sports, whatever. It's like to take in more data in this larger sense. I mean, I hope sports and mental coaches teach this stuff. This is it. I mean, I've thought before about being like a sports coach. I don't know, man. So it's one of those things where like I don't play sports, so I feel like I would be like at a disadvantage. But listen, if there's sports coaches out there who aren't doing this, wake up, sheeple. Just kidding. Folks, lovely. Any other questions, reports, difficulties, interest, opportunities? I had a really lovely time. P.S. I just want to mention a few things. So the thing that I mentioned about that, and let's listen to this as we're doing it here. I want to see what volume that is for you guys. It's pretty loud. Get down low. So listen to this and follow the groove, just like move along with the groove. That's emotion. It's hard to get this across to people, but that is 100% emotion. The mind is sort of like what maybe makes it possible to distinguish certain things. If there's theory, but it's the difference between music theory, which can just be bullshit. I mean, it's cool, it's interesting, it's there's a depth there, but music theory alone ain't music. I'll tell you that. It's a bunch of theory, and so the mind can do all the theory, but the following of the music, the actual movement, is emotion. It's the body moving. I think the mind makes it possible to approach that, because animals can hear the music, but they don't necessarily follow the groove, or maybe we just haven't found the grooves that animals really like. But yeah, okay. Jean says as follows.
I was actually super relieved the music stopped because I was experiencing a resistance to it, which I was just trying to note with equanimity. It's partly BC, it's not my kind of music, but also it's fast and made my mind jumpy. Otherwise, I was daydreamy today. One thing that stuck out for me, I realized mid-meditation that my door was slightly open and it was getting chilly in the room. While trying to feel sound, I was also feeling the cold temp on my skin.
There you go.
Tried to imagine them as the same.
Great work. Great work. Nate says,
talk more about how the music we're experiencing correlates with the emotions we're experiencing. Is it that they are both completely relative and ambiguous and ever-changing and not very important?
Well, those are all qualities of anything. Any sense experience is, what do you say here? Relative, ambiguous, and ever-changing. And not very important is a question, because important is a conceptual idea itself. So not ultimately important or relatively important, because they can be relatively very important. You can hear the alarm of a fire drill. It's like, you better get out of there. That's relatively important. But experientially, it's all the same.
I mean our emotions about other things, like a family situation, not our emotions created by the music.
So talk more about how music experience is correlated with emotions we are experiencing. So Nate, try to clarify for me, because I feel like I could answer the question, but it's going to be one of those things where I'm kind of making up what your question is, because just start from the beginning. Just, my question is X. I'll talk a little bit about it, but I just mentioned it a moment ago, I've been working with a few people recently about detecting emotion, and this is always this constant question for people who don't detect emotion easily is, what do you mean? What are you talking about? And I know it seems like a strange thing to say, listen, the groove or that movement, or even the movement from one note to another, that is emotional. But I in a way, it's trust me, if you watch your emotions closely enough, you start to notice these sort of qualities and these tendencies, etc., and the way that the system is just pushing and pulling, the way the system is navigating the world. If you get sensitive enough, you can move your eyes around and look at different colors and notice the physical, emotional response to these different things. Music is an excellent example, because we really feel usually we don't feel it until it's really intense, and then we're feel okay, that's emotion, but that's just an intense emotion. Even just following the groove, even being yeah, is is that a theory that you came up with? Is that a concept? Is that a postulate that you laid down and now you're going to prove it through hard, cold facts? It's like, no, it's just like, yeah, right? It's like, that is just a full expression of emotion. And I think one of the reasons we like music so much is that it is just so deeply emotional in its nature. It just has this like thing that works. So, restate your question or forever hold your pizza. One more time, I'm going to put this person's data in the chat because people should look them up. Instagram and why you no post? Oh, there we go. Instagram as well as YouTube. That's their name. And it's not. I mean, he's in a band, so I think he's probably going to go solo. Is my guess. Either these are my two predictions. Either the band is going to wildly reshape themselves to be about this person, or he's going to be, like often bands have one person that has a lot of pull, which is good. People should be smart about like supporting their, geniuses. And sometimes they have more than one, which is great. And they get to work together and everyone supports and they start to realize like the sort of undercurrent of genius of the people who are supporting staff. The drum and bass usually get no credit. And I think he's going to go solo. Either the band's going to reshape around him or he's going to go solo or create another band that gives him a lot more room to maneuver. But right now you can find them there. Or actually, let me copy this link again because I think this might be his personal, what is it called? Personal Reddit. So you can probably follow him here. And if he goes solo or whatever, has more broadcasts like this, you can follow those. Okay. Nick says,
yeah, you can definitely get in the zone listening to music as well, like just experiencing pure hearing, instead of me hearing music.
Mm-hmm.
Usually we seem to need something that makes us go, wow, this is good, gonna pay full attention to this, to hold that kind of focus which makes us drop our self-image. But I guess you could train that skill to experience flow from a lot more music than just your favorites, and not just music.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really what meditation, the training of meditation is to be interested. It's one of the biggest challenges. People sit down, they meditate, I'm distracted. Well, the mind is interested in a bunch of other stuff. It's so used to just surfing the web or like doing a thing and just always having the next and the next and the next thing that it can never actually stay with what's happening. And trust me, if you want a life where you can never be satisfied and you're always like agonizing for the next thing and like you can never settle, well, there's a great way to train the mind. Just never, try to stop. Just let it pursue whatever it wants, which is good for survival. It's good for finding novelty so that, we can find a new plant to eat or whatever, survival drive we have within us. But for fulfillment, we actually have to train the system to pause for a minute. And that's what happens when we go to a music concert. We pause for a minute and be like, wait a minute. Let's just listen. Let's just spend time with this. But it can happen at any time. I mean, now, this particular moment is the best time that we can do that, is to care for and appreciate what's happening around us. That is like the best training to have a fulfilling life that we could possibly engage with. Nate has probably restated his question here. Nate says,
the biggest thing I'm trying to do in my life right now is have joy. I'm trying to practice being okay with the heavy emotions I am having about my life, kids, wife, job, COVID. I'm asking how that correlates with today's meditation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And then, okay, great. So, yeah, I mean, joy is a cultivation. It's not one emotion. I think you mentioned two things here, and I just want to point out that they're different. And this is my basic suggestion and advice. Cultivating joy, totally skillful. Go for it. Do it. Being okay with the other emotions, the challenging emotions, great skill. Go ahead and do it. They're not necessarily just one thing. So, and don't assume that if you can't be okay with the emotions, you can't have joy. Today in the practice, what I was noticing, I had like a very old, somatically held sadness, and I was watching the two mix, and it was creating a different tone. This is what I was talking about, a different tone of music. Very powerful. And like the tone of this music has a very particular like bouncy quality, and the two together made this sort of like dark umber thing that was like very fascinating and interesting and personal to me, which was lovely. So the point of it is that develop those skills, develop the skill of noticing joy, formally do it in meditation. You can just bring up joy, And then also the skill of equanimity, which is to accept what's happening. Typically for that, I'm going to encourage, widening awareness, noticing that wider awareness itself is deeply neutral. If you open up awareness right now, awareness just takes in whatever it comes in contact with. It doesn't need anything to be different. And that neutrality is our savior. It's crazy helpful. So hopefully that answers the question. Let's see. Nick says, neat skill to be able to be interested in exactly what's happening now. Well, listen, if you can't be interested in what's happening now, I don't know if you can be interested. Typically what people like when they're like, oh, I'm so fascinated with this thing, is the feeling. And they think that it's the thing giving them the feeling, which sometimes there's a direct relationship to, but you can just develop that feeling without anything, which is what Shinzen talks about as happiness independent of conditions. That's ideal. Exalted Bro, welcome. Good to see you here. Exalted says the following.
I don't understand the emotion thing in music. You mean music can evoke emotion? Sad song will make you sad. If that's what you mean, then I get it.
I'm taking that a step further. That's exactly true. Sad song, make me sad. Happy song, make me happy. But the thing is that our senses are deeply neutral, and I think this is something people miss. So I want to show you. Let's just forget talking about this. Feel the sensations in your hand, right? Really feel them for a minute. I'll pause the music because I want to make sure that you can really get into this. Quiet. Really feel the sensations. Really get in there, high definition, feel those sensations. Ask those sensations, do you have a to-do list? Let them answer with sensations. I know this sounds weird. Let the sensations answer with sensations. They can't answer yes or no. The mind can answer that, but the sensations can't. They can only answer with sensations. So, do you have a to-do list of shit you need to do? It's a weird answer, but that's the only answer I can give. Okay, well, are you concerned about, all of the woes and challenges of the world, the politics of the world? That's weird. It keeps giving the same answer. I'm serious. Do this. This is not just, and it's funny, but it's true. Okay, what about, and think of any worry that you have, like, okay, I have a difficulty, this kind of thing. Our sensations of the hand don't care, right? Here's the thing, none of our sensations, none of our sensing experiences actually care what happens. They're neutral. Emotion is the thing that tells us, oh, I like or I dislike, and it pushes and pulls us internally. It's a good system for survival. It says, no, get away from that person. Oh, this person's lovely. They keep being caring. So it pushes us towards and away from things. But it's very, very subtle. It's not just like, oh, I see a tragedy, sad. Oh, I just got $1 million. Ooh, happy. Like it's every instant is shaped by emotion. And people really don't see this, or they don't have the sensory clarity to detect this. They can understand it. But every single, like a color difference from one thing to another, the body goes, pushes and pulls. I mean, you can look at, okay, let me look at two things here, two objects. Here is a beautiful antique, brass bell, right? Here is a unwrapped plastic cord that I have from a hard drive. Just without thinking about it, which one do you prefer? Plastic orange cord or antique bell? You might have a different answer than me. I'm personally, this is not the truth, this is just where I go, I'm drawn to this. Oh, okay, I like that. This is not logic. You're not making a formula. You're just drawn to it. That is emotion. Emotion is a body sensation, mostly. It can be a tendency of mind, but ultimately it's this sort of leaning towards, leaning away. Music, to follow the groove of the music, if you really actually separate out and become deeply non-emotional, so equanimous, you can't hear the movement of the music. It's no longer a movement. It is just sound. It's just, it sounds like a John Cage, random thing. So the groove is the body pushing and pulling. I know that seems weird. I know it seems strange, but I promise you that is 100% the case. You don't have to believe me, though. Just check it out. Check it out yourself. Is following the groove logic. Is this theoretical? So that's where I'm coming from. That's what I'm talking about. Exalta says, oh, I think, or most people just have a different definition of the word or concept emotion. So again, I don't even know what emotion means. Okay, so people wildly have different opinions. This is not agreed on anywhere in like any culture. So I'm giving my definition and what works for me for having, you know, a fulfilling life. So just know this is very particular. And so I apologize, but I just want to re-clarify. And before I do that, I just had an emotional spike checking my schedule. Okay, I'm good. I got to jump off soon. So emotion is body sensations, which are emotional in nature. You notice that definition is a tautology. It's a self-fulfilling loop. It doesn't resolve anything, partially because we don't have the words yet. We don't have the actual thing to explain it to people, but it's very, very direct. Once you actually hang out with the senses and hang out, it's like, oh my God, those sensations are clearly emotion. What's interesting is this is not just like some weird foreign thing that I'm like, oh, put this on top of your experience. Probably 30% of people in an average room of people I sit down to meditate with, I'm like, who can easily detect emotion right now in their body? 30% of people are like, yeah, right now I can totally detect emotion. It does skew a little bit more sex-wise. It tends to be more towards people who are biologically female, I find. Maybe it's a hormonal thing, etc., but not the case. It's a little bit, it's not a lot. I really couldn't detect emotion. I had two emotions, which was like overwhelm and anger. Those are like the emotions that I had, you know, for a long time. And then I started to realize, oh, it's actually a sensation in the body. Now, in the guided meditations that I mentioned, the 15 guided meditations, there's 3, I think, or at least 2 in there. There's 2 in there that are trigger practices to see if you can detect emotion. I'll give you the short version now if you want to try it. You just imagine something that's very emotional, not a bad emotion, just an emotion. Joy, surprise, disgust even, is next to you on one side. You pick a side. Really imagine it, really get it clear, really get into it. Build it up, crescendo. It's getting higher and higher. It's getting closer. It's whatever it is. It's yucky or it's so joyful. I can't stop imagining. Compare the right side and the left side. Is there any difference whatsoever? Does one feel lighter, one feel heavier, one feel more expansive, one feel, and if there's a difference, the likelihood is that you're experiencing that emotion on that side of the body. And so you can start to detect, wait, this really subtle sensation, this sort of like effervescent, very light sensation, almost feels like a temperature difference, is emotion? My answer is yes. You hang out with that, suddenly like, wait a minute, that's happening all the time, that's constant. Any preference, any liking, any clinging, any aversion, any, wanting, not wanting, any of those things are emotional. They're physical in the body, and the brain takes responsibility. Like, oh, I did that, and it's just very, silly and arrogant. But that's the brain is very good at doing that. The mind the ego tends to take everything as its own because that's all it knows. It only knows an identity, and everything revolves around it. So, not surprising. Okay, folks, I'm going to jump off here. I just want to give a special thanks. Let me make sure, because the band is Def Cat, but this character himself is who? I don't think it's not displaying this person's name unless it's like way at the top somehow. Okay, here we go. No. I don't know. I can't tell. Oh, here we go. It's, okay, here we go. I want to, hold on, let me capture this up. Okay, this is the person's name on Reddit, if you want to follow them. Excellent. So Hamlet should have said, there is nothing good or bad, only emotions make it so. Yeah. It's funny though, because then gets it. Okay, sorry. It is true though that thoughts are the thing that tag things. Thoughts are dividing up the world. I think emotions, in a way, are a simple, early version of thought. And that's, again, gets into full definitions. You can rewrite stuff left and right. Thought, we're defining thought as mental audio, mental visual data. That's all thought is. We're keeping it really simple because if we look at it in this very simple way, we suddenly can see the world in a very clear, defined way. But it is fair to say those thoughts are very much mixed and they dance with emotion in the body. We also want to look at like our little doggy brain here. this doggy has all of the emotional circuitry that we want, most of the emotional circuitry that we have, but not the linguistic side. So we can trigger things for the dog. Watch, I'll trigger an emotional response. See? Yeah, that was exciting, wasn't it? That was an exciting sound. You get treats when you hear that sound. So that was an emotional response. Oh, right? Dogs are like pure emotion. Like all of that is emotion. So hopefully that helps. I want to say thank you to Cronfire for guiding and helping us with a lovely meditation. Thanks everyone for joining us as always, and we're going to jump here into our very delightful outro music. Let me pause this. So you know what I want to do with the outro? Just for fun, since today's today. I'm going to turn that music off, turn this music up. Nick here is this last comment. Nick, you're sneaking one in right at the end. Nick says,
I'm so lazy with actually doing the meditations, haven't even done the 15 foundationals. The mental stimulation addiction pull is still so strong, Shikantaza is like the final exam.
Yep, that's pretty true. Pretty good. Awesome, folks. Great as always to be here with you. And let's transition here. So let's turn up the jams a little, folks. As always, lovely to be here with you. Can you even hear this? No, that turned off, didn't it? All right, we'll put the music on. You can't hear that desktop music. Okay. Lovely, folks. As always, great to be here with you. Great to practice. Always fun. Always good times. Right now, you can take a moment and listen to your environment. Listen to the weird, random music that is non-music, or the music that you're hearing here in the background. Folks, as always, practice well. Take care of each other. Have fun, and we'll see you all very, very soon.